Looking now how ethics literacy could be evolving. Now we are speaking about how Deepen can be developed this kind of literacy. And again, I would suggest you to look carefully in the framework that the competency framework that UNESCO is proposing to see into the details. But what we have here again is some examples about attitudinal or behavioral changes that we are aiming to address in introducing artificial intelligence based on ethics. And it's very important in this phase, as we are progressing now. We are not only speaking about the ethical principles, but as you remember, we are also speaking on how safe and responsible use of artificial intelligence could be implemented. And we are speaking when we are implementing AI in education, there is issues related to that data privacy that we need to assure, to make sure that artificial intelligence is implemented safely. And we should also ensure that intellectual property rights that are associated with aspects or dimensions of originality are very important also to bring forward in discussing this safe and responsible use. Related to this, there are the legal aspects or legal compliance that it's very important also to take into account regarding the introduction of AI in education. Why? Because we as teachers should or could not have all the necessary information, and there is the need, and that's why the national recommendations that I've mentioned before are important, so that the legal framework also guides teachers within the classroom to make sure that there is a legal compliance regarding the introduction of artificial intelligence, and also an ethical compliance. And this is putting forward an aspect that is very critical when we introduce pedagogic strategies within or driven by technology. It's always necessary to evaluate the effects, but given the context within which we are regarding ethical issues, is even more important to evaluate how artificial intelligence could be a beneficial and advantageous tool for education. And in line with this, I am bringing forward here the case of pharmaceutical sciences and what we did in addressing this issue of assessing the effectiveness of artificial intelligence. And we developed a questionnaire that Fernando Ramião applied to his students. And according to the perceptions of his students, it was possible to arrive to the conclusion that the artificial intelligence in this case was introduced in a way that the use was safe and responsible, taking into account these four dimensions. On the one hand, students acknowledge that it was a support, artificial intelligence, to translate the complexity of AI into specific or concrete learning opportunities for students. There was the opportunity to develop critical reasoning regarding the outputs artificial intelligence was providing to students, and also to negotiate the limits and the capacities for the use of AI. So, given the possibility of aligning the use of AI with the pedagogical objectives, our assessment of the effectiveness of AI was precisely based on the opinions and the perceptions of the students. And in their perceptions, it was possible to verify and confirm facts. This means that the students were able to manage the risks associated to the use of AI in the specific conditions that Fernando Ramião set in his specific course. So issues related to possible bias and impartiality, privacy and data confidentiality, as well as authorship and originality, were dimensions that were possible to address in introducing artificial intelligence in this course in pharmaceutical sciences. So, what I would propose now in terms of also trying to address what kind of questions could be raised from your own experience, and this is very important that this proposal of activities could address your own experience. Probably you can think about any specific tool where that you are familiar with, and these try to answer or address these questions in a way that you can arrive to a conclusion regarding how good, how adequate were these tools, AI tools, for the objectives you had in mind in using them. And to help you in framing these questions, probably there are issues related to what you see here in this slide that could be takeaways or main takeaways to take into account regarding this issue of shall we use or not an AI tool supporting or with a very concrete objective regarding our educational and pedagogical perspective regarding our own practices. So this is food for thought. This is a proposal to think about on how to assess, how to evaluate the usefulness of an artificial intelligence tool. Given the fact that we deepen the ethical or the ethics literacy in higher in artificial intelligence, what our teachers are expected now is to be able to internalize essential ethical rules for safe and responsible use of AI in education. And this is very important as the second degree or the second dimension of progression regarding